Welcome everyone to L2R2 PlateStation podcast. My name is Fonzie. I'm joined by my co-host, indie game dev, my UK brub from another mom, Cal Monroe. Cal, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. As we were just saying, we're now got the a lockdown sequel. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
Lockdown
as
Part
it's
2.
supposed to be. Yeah, lockdown part two. Yeah, stuck in the house for another God knows how long. But it's is what it is. Do as I'm told, and yeah, so got that to look forward to. Starts today. Um, so yeah, that's very nice. Had a few months of freedom, and now back to the cells. But yeah, no, yeah, I haven't been too bad.
Do you have a plan on, because I think you can work from home, right? So I
Mm.
guess do you have a plan on in your downtime? Do you just like dig into old TV shows, other games? Like what are you gonna do to not go nuts again?
No, I mean, I do sort of I do my normal job, sort of at home, but I also, because I'm at home now, I sort of mix in my like creative work, at the same time, and then yeah, so I don't know, it's kind of all melding together at the moment. I'm kind of struggling to create a sort of my own schedule. So I lack discipline sometimes in sort of making sure I work for a set block of time and then relax for give myself some relaxing time. I'm one of those people that are always like, oh, I'll just do that tomorrow and I'll relax today. Um, so yeah, it's been, it's not easy to organize your time, your downtime and your work time. But yeah, I think I definitely feel like my evenings when I'm not tempted to go out and see friends or do anything outside of the house means I can, relax, play games, watch some TV and things like that. So, I think having to stay in, just knowing you're not allowed out is kind of strange. But I think now that this is the second time and it should be for a lot less longer, it shouldn't be too bad. I'm used to it. I know what sort of how it felt last time, so I should be able to try and manage my time a bit better and get through the other end. And hopefully, yeah, like you said, watch some TV and catch up on my backlog of games and do lots of fun things like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the slight silver lining is that there's just really, we're always running away from the other stuff that we should be doing, or not really should be
Yeah,
doing, but there's a ton of
yeah,
stuff that I know I want to do, like
mm,
dig into my backlog. There's just so many games. And I just did this, oh God, I just did this the other day where I have so many games on my PlayStation 4, but I'm like, I just keep going to the PlayStation Store, the actual like marketplace, and seeing like, hey, what
mm,
what are the deals? What can I buy? But I'm like, I have all these games that I still need to jump into, but I'm still looking into what the new thing is or what a good deal is. But
yeah,
yeah, it just kind of never ends where I'm just constantly chasing
yeah.
something else.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is tough, and I mean, like I said, I think the hardest thing about trying to work from home, where you've got all these distractions around you, it's very hard, and you do have to sort of try and have some discipline. And I think the hardest part is, you always wish for more time. You always like, if I had more time, I'd be able to do all this. I'd be able to complete this project. I'd be able to do that. But in reality, when you have all of that time, it's really difficult to schedule it and not lax off or not be in the right frame of mind to do anything.
Yep.
Because it's a vicious circle. As soon as you're not doing something you should be doing, then that makes you not want to do anything even more because you feel guilty or you feel unproductive or whatever. So it is difficult. I think you just need to brute force your way through and try and reach like a happy medium that where you can at least get some things done, but still give yourself some time to relax and not think about everything.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Did you play any games this week?
So I play. Obviously I played Dirt 5 over the
Right.
weekend, which I really really enjoyed. It was really good fun. I've lost my save now for some reason, so I won't be
Oh
playing it
boy.
ever again.
How
but
many hours did you
but
lose in that?
I mean, I must have spent about 15 to 20 hours over the weekend playing it because I
Uh,
want to make sure, every time I review something, I want to make sure I play enough of it to give it a fair shout. And
yeah.
so, yeah, I put a lot of time into it. And yeah, I definitely won't be playing it again from the start. So, yeah, and it looks like that's a problem for a lot of people. I think it is an issue going forwards as well, but because most people who are facing that issue haven't played or have only put in like half an hour in before realizing their save's gone. Whereas, people who got it early, like myself and lots of others, we've lost lots and lots of progress. So it's a big shame. But playing that has made me want to play more racing games. I do like racing games, and obviously we had Forza 7 that's just come to Xbox on PC. So I gave that a download. I've been playing some Race Driver Grid, which is like my all-time favorite racing
Yeah.
game. And yeah. So that's mostly what I've been playing, really.
Have you
Mostly
heard?
Grid.
Have you heard that it's rumors, and I didn't put in the news this week, but that the new Gran Turismo is going to launch in 2021. It was courtesy
Mhm.
of some, I forget if it was some outlet that had seen it early, seen some kind of like post early about it, but the rumor is 2021 for Gran
Mhm.
Turismo 7, I want to say.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I think the past few Gran Turismos have been quite disappointing, in quite a few ways, but I'm always hopeful that the next one will be, that resurgence. I think GT Sport, the newest one, was pretty good, but again, it just didn't have enough. Didn't have enough fun races, didn't have a good enough progression system or career mode, and that's how I played Motorsport 7 Forza for about an hour or so, and I just couldn't. There's just not enough to pull me in. Whereas, I mean, a game like Grid, it's so personal. It really makes you feel like connected to the career, and I mean that is just the still to this day. I mean, it's 13 years old now. That is still the racing game to beat for me, and I could play that, forever. It never gets old because it's so personal, like I said, and it's so different. Every race is different. Every race is so engaging and dramatic, and it's just an awesome game. So so playing Dirt has it just made me want to dive back into Grid, really.
Yeah.
I was looking at getting the rebooted Grid, the sort of re-release of the first game, which came out a couple of years ago now. But I found out that it doesn't actually have the like the season mode, or like the sort of really personal AI drivers and all the rankings and things, all the things that basically made Grid so unique and special. So I wasn't, I didn't bother. I've got the original Grid on Steam, just downloaded that and been having loads of fun with that. So that's the first time I've really played it sort of since PS3, really. So it's been quite nice to sort of get back into that, and I suppose a little bits of nostalgia 13 years ago now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's been good fun.
Have you, since you're playing on PC, are there any mods that kind of bring the game just to a more updated state, or you're just kind of playing the base model of the game, the base kind of output that it had
Yeah,
when it came out?
yeah. I haven't really looked, to be honest. It doesn't have. I think the resolution is just under 1080p. So I can't play it at 1440 or anything like that. The sort of graphics options are very, very strange and sort of old fashioned. So yeah, I mean, definitely showing its age, but I mean, I think it looks fine. I think it's always had a kind of not grainy, but that kind of like motion effect to it anyway,
Mm.
that sort of always made it look a little bit arcadier. So I think, it's not one of these photorealistic racer games. It never has been. Um, it's absolutely fine to play. Plays nicely, and I've got it loaded on my SSD, and there's literally no loading screens at all, pretty much. So that's quite nice that it's sort of affected in that way by it. Um, so yeah, no, I haven't looked for any mods. I'm sure there are tons of them, because I know that Grid is kind of like a cult classic for a lot of people, and lots of people still play it for good reason. And yeah, so it might be worth looking into.
Mm, mm. Gotcha. Well, yeah. So as far as what I've played not a whole lot this week. I feel like I've just kind of been a bit lazy, or too lazy to even play games apparently. But I have what I've been doing, jumping into, is just more PC stuff, I guess, lately. But I've been playing this game that's in early access called Teardown, and it was shown off at I want to say the Game Awards last holiday, where they show off the features where it's this voxel simulation game, voxel kind of sandbox game, where everything is will destroy or like break apart, and they're using voxels, which are these 3D pixels, which I don't understand. But because of that, it almost looks like Minecraft, but it's not. Where
Mhm.
all the material just reacts to physics, where you can destroy walls, you can burn stuff, and it just looks crazy beautiful, and it's really fun. Been playing that. There's like a story mode. There's also just a sandbox where you can crash cars into each other, and it's just tons of fun just to see this stuff like decompose and break apart in real time.
Yeah,
And yeah,
nice.
so I've been loving that. I would love to see that come to
Yeah.
consoles. And really, when they initially showed it off, I thought it was going to be kind of demanding because these voxels are nuts. I know it's kind of a newer technology or kind of thing to do. The lighting's pretty crazy. I thought maybe it would be pretty hard for PCs to run it, but
Mhm.
my PC's been doing fine, and it's like a gig and a
Yeah.
half file space. So I think as soon as I can get this to consoles, I think this game's going to blow up for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, beyond that, nothing else. I'm just kind of excited, and as soon as I get the PS5 here, I'm going to jump into Miles. That's what we're a week away here. I know you guys are 2 weeks away. It's getting
Yeah.
very close. But so I'm
Yeah.
kind of saving my PlayStation Steam for when I get my PS5 in hand. But
Yeah.
it's coming up.
Yeah. Very exciting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, this time next week you'll have it. You probably won't even want to do the podcast, so you can go off and play play some games. Do you know what sort of
It's not a
time
bad
it's
idea.
meant to be delivered? Is it going to be like sometime before 8 p.m. or something, like really general?
So we kind of have a feel for when we get our packages because of where we are in town. We're kind of the last stop, and they usually just
Hmm.
like kick the package at our door and say like, fuck you, because they're just done with the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
chances are I'm not getting the PS5 until like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So it's
Okay.
going to be
Yeah.
later in the night. But I do
Yeah.
see everyone on Twitter is posting about. I think today a lot of people are getting tracking notices for their Xbox Series X pre-orders. So
Hmm.
everyone's waiting to see when PlayStation is going to start shipping them out. I know I did get an
Yeah.
email a couple of days ago from PlayStation saying that they're going to start charging cards soon. So if you have your pre-order, make
Yeah.
sure you have funds in your bank because we're going to start
Hmm.
charging it. And even that email was kind of exciting, just because like, oh, this is getting more real. They're actually checking
Yeah.
and letting us know,
Yeah.
hey, we're gonna charge you. Make sure you got money because you promised us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
it's just little stuff
Well,
like that. It's just like,
hopefully that'll free up some PlayStations for people who have
yeah,
forgotten about that happening. So I'll need to keep an
yeah,
eye out. But I mean,
take
over here it
advantage.
looks like I'm gonna have to order one on release date and then just wait and see how long that takes for me to get one. So I mean, this lockdown has come at a pretty bad time
Yeah.
because I'm not going to be able to get one. But yeah, hopefully I'll get one sort of this year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing these next couple weeks, and if they can, produce more in these next few weeks, months. I think there's so much demand. You'd have to imagine that they feel the heat because they want to sell as many as possible, but they just can't, produce them as fast as they would like to.
Mhm.
But yeah, you got to imagine that they are struggling to make it work for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be a tough one.
Yes. And we have some new stuff that we can jump into that is also related to what's going on with PS4, with PS5s and the availability. Some countries are already sold out completely. So,
Yeah.
but we'll get to the first one here. Just some news about the PS5 itself and one of the first crossover games that's going to get an update. We got Days Gone, runs at 60 frames per second, dynamic 4K on PS5. So this was revealed a couple days ago. We got Sammy Barker from PushSquare.com has the article. Days Gone will take advantage of Sony's next-gen hardware at launch, running at up to 60 frames per second in dynamic 4K on the PlayStation 5, and will support save transfers from PS4 to PS5. It's not the first game to be specifically updated for the Japanese giant's fresh format. Ghost of Tsushima will also run at 60 frames per second on PS5. How do you feel about this, Callum? Do you think it's? I don't know if you ever finished or jumped into Days Gone. Is it enough to jump in again to try it on PS5 with the bells and whistles turned on?
Yeah, I think I got very close to the end of Days Gone. I really, really liked it as well. I think just something must have come out and drawn me away from it. Yeah, I think that's definitely a reason. I mean, I've been wanting to jump back into it, and I think this is a good reason to wait. I think the frame rate was definitely an issue in the PS4 version. I don't know if they fixed that now. But yeah, I remember that being, probably one of the only things I disliked about the game was how it ran sometimes. It was mostly when you were like on your bike and in certain areas it was really, really bad. So this would be really nice. I mean, it's a great game, really enjoyable cast of characters, really great fun gameplay. So yeah, I think that'll be really, really good at 60 frames a second. And the fact it supports your saves is perfect for me because I definitely don't want to start it again.
Yeah.
But it means that I'll be able to, finish the story and then do all the. I know there's lots of cleanup stuff to do, so I'll be able to do that and reap the benefits of the smoother gameplay whilst doing so.
Yeah, same here. I'm really early on. I'm like 4 hours in, and I do keep getting the bug where I want to try it again. It's such a beautiful game. I love that world they created, and yeah, I want to spend more time there. But I think I will wait for this PS5 update to see it running at 60 and
Hmm.
with all the graphical improvements and stuff.
Yeah.
I can't wait. This game's already beautiful, so it looks like they're up-resing it or upscaling it to 4K. I have heard some criticisms about the 60 frames per second because it's a current gen or last gen game. Really, should 60 be the frame rate that we should be fine with, or should they be kind of shooting for something else? I feel like maybe if they could reach, I guess the next milestone is like 120, but maybe that's too
Hmm.
demanding to ask. But I know with PS5, their whole thing is one of the marketing schemes is the fact that they can support up to 120 frames per second. I just wonder if 60 is fine enough for this kind of thing with
Hmm.
the power of the PS5.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially at 4K, you'll struggle to find many PCs that can do 4K 60 FPS
Sure.
that won't cost you over like £1,200. So, um, yeah, I think 4K 60 is not even that necessarily what we should be aiming for in the first place. I think, um, I mean, I'm sure at 1080p it will be able to go above 60, and even then, I think 60 FPS is, it's perfectly fine. You won't find anybody complain about playing a game at 60 FPS, especially if it's on a console where it's going to be locked and there shouldn't be any stutters, especially on next gen hardware. So no, I think I think 60 FPS is perfect, and considering most people don't have 120 hertz or true 120 hertz TVs, because I know a lot of them say that they're 120 hertz when really they're not.
Right.
Um, I think that I think 60 is a perfectly fine thing to go for.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I want this to be kind of the standard going forward with all these carryover, crossover, cross-gen games to let them take advantage of the PS5,
Mm,
and so I think
yeah,
we're going to see as soon as we get the PS5 into everyone else's hands, everyone's going to be trying, every PS4 game to see what the natural advantage is with the PS5, if not, what the devs have done to actually upgrade it. But yeah,
yeah,
can't wait.
yeah. And
And
I
this
think
gives
as soon as you go above 60 as well, I think that's when you start having less texture detail, smaller draw distance, so things in a distance may look really blocky and undetailed and things like that. So yeah, I think you got to find that happy medium with detail and frame rate, and I think 60 should allow for that, definitely. And I think even if it was to be at 1080p 60, which I'm sure it will go above that resolution, but then at least you know that you're getting a steady 60, which will definitely not be affected, and you're going to get maximum quality in terms of the draw distance, the texture detail, and everything like that. So I think there's too much focus on frame rates that go above 60, and you're never ever going to notice stutter at 60 frames a second unless you have the exact same game running at 120 FPS right next to you, and you're never going to realize. I don't even notice it at 30, and I play PC games at well much over 60 FPS quite a lot, and when I then go and play my PS4 at 30 FPS, I don't notice any stuttering. So I don't think people need to worry too much about how many frames it's going to get as long as it's 60.
I think you're right, and especially with like a single player game, I think it's definitely 60 is totally fine, and that should be the standard. And maybe if we're talking about like a competitive, like a Call of Duty game, if they can, maybe
Yeah.
those players would prefer them to bring down the quality so they can get that extra sense of
Hmm.
of
Yeah, sure.
competitiveness with the frame rates and stuff. But it's a different, I guess it's just a different lane.
Hmm.
But yeah, with a single player game like this, just yeah, 60 is awesome. You're
Yeah.
doing 4K, go for it. But yeah, I think I'm totally fine with this, and I do want
Yeah.
to try this game. I seem to quit
Yeah.
when I after about an hour or so. I seem to always unplug from this. I'm not sure what it is. If the story never clicked
Mm.
with me, but I do want to just commit and hold on
Yeah.
and experience this game all the way through. I have heard some complaints. It's very long, almost too long. as
Yeah.
far as towards the end, but I'm not sure.
It is. It's very, very long. I think I'm literally at like the last mission or the last couple of missions because I've got a few friends who have completed it, and I sort of have told them where I'm at, and yeah, they said I'm very close to the end. But it's also one of those games that gets a lot better the more you play it.
Hmm.
I think there's like a perfect point, sort of maybe about 15, 20 hours in, where you're absolutely having a blast with it. You really understand how the progression system works and the upgrading weapons and all of that works. And you're getting good at the game. You've got a good arsenal of weapons. You're able to deal with big hordes and all of that. But then it's sort of kind of like a pendulum. It starts swinging the other way, and you start to think, this is really long now. When's it going to end, kind of thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think the sort of feeling you get at the beginning, because it is quite hard to really get into, especially with the performance issues. I think the feel of how it's too long is a lot sort of not quite as bad as that initial feeling of trying to get into it. So yeah, I mean, it's a great game. I think it's really underappreciated, and that's coming from someone who hasn't even finished it yet. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to see it on PS5, and it's part of the PlayStation Plus collection as well. So hopefully more people will get a chance to play it.
Right. Yeah, it is. All right, Cam. Still on the PS5, we got some unfortunate news. I think this is a pretty big bummer, but we'll dig into it. So PS5 seemingly won't support native 1440p resolution. This is Jordan Alleman of IGN. The PS5 apparently won't support a native 1440 resolution, according to IGN Italy, which says it received official confirmation from Sony Europe on Wednesday. This is bad news for PlayStation fans with 1440p gaming monitors, as it means the PS5 will not play ball with the intended resolution for the set, likely upscaling from 1080p to compensate. We've contacted Sony for comment. The PlayStation 5 can output a maximum of 8K resolution and 4K at 120 frames per second via HDMI 2.1 compliant TVs. It'll be fine at 1080p resolution too, but the in-between resolution used by many PC gamers seemingly won't be supported by the new console at launch. Callum, are you ready to just put the PS5 in the garbage? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I get it. I know that there aren't 1440p TVs, and games consoles are, mostly to be played on TVs. But yeah, it's a shame because I've got a perfectly good 1440p monitor, and yeah, I would have liked to have played on it. But I think you've got to look at the brighter or the bigger picture. I think, and that's that the reason games consoles are able to make their games run so well is because they have minimal amount of things to have to cater for.
Hmm.
So adding a third resolution in there, and then they'd have to think about um, the graphical fidelity they want to be able to achieve at 1440p, the frame rates they want to achieve at 40, and so it will add a lot more development sort of issues as well. So yeah, it's a bummer, but I also luckily have a 4K TV, so I can use that. And like we were just saying, there's not going to be any games that do 4K above 60 FPS anyway. So if I do decide that I want to play games at higher FPS, I could just plug them into my monitor and just play it at 1080p. Because it's not too much of a problem. So yeah, it's a shame, but I can see why they're doing it as well.
Yeah, same. And you bring up a good point where it's just another thing that devs have to worry about. And I guess it's just up to Sony to kind of make this standard, saying, hey, we'd rather you focus on these essential resolutions
Mhm.
and not where, although we say essential resolutions, excuse me. And then in that article, they mentioned how the PS5, and it's on the box too, the PS5 is also advertising the whole 8K thing. And that
Yeah,
the 8K thing is bullshit right now. There's no
yeah,
reason to talk
yeah,
at
for
all
sure.
about 8K. There's not even
Yeah.
TVs you can buy. And if you can, they're crazy expensive. And it's just unnecessary. So it seems weird to go that route where, and maybe they're not, I guess they're having devs, support that resolution, but
Hmm.
you're doing that, but then dropping 1440p, it just seems strange. But it's just more of though they want to be able to say on the box that they support that resolution as a selling
Yeah.
point, but it's just not something that anyone's going to use anytime soon.
Yeah, yeah, it is weird, and yeah, the 8K things are stupid. I don't know whether that's because there's maybe something down the line of 8K Blu-rays or 8K
Maybe.
video playback with Netflix and things like that. So I don't know whether maybe that's not necessarily related to games, or maybe more the video playback stuff. But
Sure.
um, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't even seen an 8K TV outside of like the, you know, the ridiculous shopping centers you go to at Christmas
Right.
and things like that. So yeah, it's like I said. I mean, no 1440p support's annoying for me, who, you know, someone who has a 1440p monitor. But yeah, hopefully it will at least look okay on my monitor, and I can, you know, the monitor, it's 144 hertz, so if I end up playing 1080p games at 120 FPS, at least I'll be able to get that benefit of the extra additional hertz. But yeah, it's you know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a positive way to look at it. I can't seem to bring your mood down, Callum. It seems like you're rock solid and
Well, no,
dropping all these bombs.
well, well, I haven't even got. Well, it's probably because I know I'm not going to be able to get a PS5 for a while, so might as well just accept it.
You've already made peace with that
Yeah,
possibility.
exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. Alrighty, Callum. Well, we got another just weird one here with the PS5. PS5's DualSense controller works with PS3, but not PS4. This is Andy Robinson of VideoGamesChronicle.com. PlayStation 5's new DualSense controller works with legacy PlayStation 3 consoles, but not PlayStation 4. It's been revealed. As demonstrated by YouTuber Midnight Man, DualSense is not recognized at all by the PS4 console. However, the PS5 pad connects wirelessly to a PS3, likely due to that console's compatibility with generic Bluetooth controllers. PS4 players do have one option, however, to connect DualSense to their PC or Mac via USB and stream PS4 games via remote play. As demonstrated by a Twitter user, DualSense will also work with Nintendo Switch, but only if a third-party adapter is used to connect the controller. It's strange. You'd think that it'd be just backwards compatible with the last or the current generation console, but it's not. It seems like it's just due to that Bluetooth connectability that
Mhm.
PS3 has. It's more
Yeah,
friendly with, but yeah, it's just strange to read that and doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I think it's fair enough that it doesn't work with the PS4. I know the DualShock 4 works with the PS3. But yeah, I mean, I think Bluetooth's quite a not dying technology, but you know, it's being replaced by lots of other things, and
Mm.
so it kind of makes sense that the PS3 has that sort of focus on it because it was sort of definitely a product of its time. Yeah, it's weird. I think it's weird to read and weird to look at, but I mean that's just reminded me that about its compatibility of PC. I didn't know that it was already compatible with PC, so I might actually look at getting myself a DualSense sort of now and using it on my PC. And I know it won't have all the bells and whistles and everything, but at least I'll get a feel for it and get to touch it whilst I cry about not having a PS5 to play with
There you
it.
go. You can at least do that. You can grab
Yeah,
a
at least.
stroller, like a baby stroller, and just kind of push it around the town and put the little
Yeah,
controller in there.
yeah. At least I can play games at 1440p with it, which I won't be able to do with the PS5.
That's true. A slight burn. I think so. It could be plugged into PC, and I imagine because it's Bluetooth as well. If you have like the receiving Bluetooth dongle
Mm,
or just Bluetooth ability on your computer, then you can also communicate that way. It looks like.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a solid
Um,
thing. I've been using my Xbox controller on my PC. I would like to use my, PlayStation 4 controller, but you have to do all these things to get it to work, and it's just annoying. So if they can make
But
that DualSense easier,
it should be all right now with Steam. I know it was a pain before, but
I haven't
um,
tried it recently.
Steam, yeah, Steam. I don't know if you used Steam Big Picture before, where it sort of
Yeah,
goes into that tile mode. Yeah, it's now got full DualShock 4 compatibility, so you should be able to plug in. And I mean, my keyboard's got a USB slot in it, so it's quite nice. I've got an Xbox controller here just hooked up. Um, but I can plug that into my keyboard rather than have to have like a really long cable with my PC or whatever.
yeah.
So that's quite handy. But yeah, I know Bluetooth's a bit of a pain sometimes with PCs. I don't think my PC even has a Bluetooth receiver in it because I'm a cheapskate. But
I ended up buying like a $10 one on Amazon that just plugs in.
okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think I
yeah.
ever use
I
it
just use
really.
the wired connection so that I don't have to. Because I hate as well Bluetooth how you always have to like hold down a button and wait for something to flash and then
Right.
pair it. It's such archaic like technology. I just wish it would die.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Where it's annoying, and there's easier ways to
Yeah,
do it where it should be doing the work, talking to each other and
yeah,
talking to devices,
yeah,
but we have to be the one
yeah.
that like
It
we're
just
playing with
reminds me of
dolls to
like
try and get them.
It reminds me of like the Nintendo Wii. I remember trying to pair those controllers all the time, and it would just
Mm.
never ever work. And you'd have like your friend sort of like knelt down by the horrible little Nintendo Wii console, like pressing a button, and which was like really hard to access if I remember correctly. And you're
Uh.
pressing buttons on the controller, and everything's flashing, and oh, it's awful. It's just the worst.
Yeah, trying to work together and communicate, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
yeah.
Oh man. All right, Cal, we got some this we talked about this last week and it was weird, and then it looks like we got some confirmation though. So this is that website PlateStation, which had to change their name, and looks like all their pre-orders for this not cover, but yeah, PS5 cover looks like they're canceled. So PS5 custom plate maker apologized after confusion with an update. All orders have been canceled. This is Matt TM Kim of IGN.com. Customize My Plates has now announced that it has canceled all sales of custom created PS5 plates and will not be selling PS5 plates in any capacity due to pressure from Sony. It will now sell vinyl console skins instead. In a statement, IGN Customize My Plates explained that the decision stems from conversations with Sony's legal team, and the trademarks for PS5's removable plates are too complex for a small team to navigate without risk of legal infringement. The move follows the company being forced to change its name from PlateStation5.com to avoid any confusion over it being an official Sony service. The move follows the company being forced to change its name from PlateStation5.com. I just copied the same thing already. And so that's basically it. It was very strange last week. We were trying to bring up the site and it was just nowhere to be found. It looks like they were
Yeah.
dealing with that legal drama behind the scenes. But the site is now up with the new name. It's like Pimp My Ride. It's no, Customize My Plates. So it's up there now, and you can just buy these vinyl skins instead that wrap around the side of your PS5. So that's their kind of workaround there. But were you bummed at all? I thought it was kind of interesting. Wouldn't mind the idea of replacing these panels with some kind of cheaper option,
Mhm.
because you have to imagine Sony will try and sell us something, but it's not going to be cheap most likely.
Yeah, yeah. I think I mean, I think we pretty much called this last week. You know, we said that it's likely they're probably gonna get an angry email from Sony, but it sounds like, to be fair, Sony were pretty amicable with them, and you know, they didn't just sort of say no. They sort of helped them, um, you know, remodel their idea to so
Mm.
that they were happy with it, and I think that's quite nice. And yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, like it says, there probably is some sort of complexity to creating these plates that they just can't give up, or they can't, you know, give to somebody else to have free reign with. Um, so yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, I'm just on their website now, and some of the vinyls look pretty cool. And
Yeah.
I suppose it allows them to do more things now, be a bit more out there, and it means we can customize the Dualsense with their things. They're doing Xbox stuff, so yeah, I suppose it's not all bad. I'm sure it'll be a lot cheaper for them as well to do sort of vinyl wraps as well. So I think everyone sort of wins here.
Yeah, I agree. And they do mention that there's some kind of copyright on the plates themselves. So I found that interesting. Wonder what they did to, or just they can copyright how it snaps in. I know I've heard of. There's a device with that Windows owns. I want to say it's one of the Windows tablets that like the Surface tablets. They
Hmm.
patented the special clicking sound that creates when you like snap the keyboard to the screen, and they made it
Yeah.
very intentional. And they said this is our only, like, you can't produce a sound anywhere else, and it means it's synonymous with
This is our
Windows,
sound. Yeah.
and it's just a sound, yeah. But they were able to copyright that and like the clicky
Yeah.
nature of it. So yeah, so I guess it's not out of the ballpark that Sony could also copyright how these
Yeah.
plastic things fit into their other
Yeah.
plastic box. But yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that they were able to survive and they weren't just completely shut down. They just had to
Yeah.
figure
Exactly.
something
Yeah.
out. But that's what it
Yeah.
seems like what was going on last week. And sure enough, that's what happened.
Yeah.
All right, Callum, we got some more news on Ratchet and Clank. And we got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is a PS5 exclusive, Insomniac confirms. So this is from GameSpot.com. We got Alessandro Barbosa has the article. Although Sony previously suggested that all its next generation titles would be exclusive to the upcoming PlayStation 5, the months since its initial reveal have been filled with announcements that many of them will be coming to PS4 too. That's not the case, however, for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Responding to a question on Twitter, the official Insomniac Games answered unequivocally that their latest entry in the PlayStation franchise will only be coming to PS5. A bead of sweat went run down my head as I had to read the word unequivocally and not mess it up. So, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is one of Sony's exclusives, still without a firm release date, with Insomniac suggesting that it will release in 2021. It only gave a vague PS5 launch window for the game. How do you feel about them not trying to do some kind of PS4 version of Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, I think it's. Well, I mean, I would have preferred that for all the PS5 games, to be honest. But I
Same.
think Ratchet and Clank's an obvious one with the whole, the whole Rift thing being its main selling point, which is obviously its way of loading levels and the focus on ray tracing and all the gameplay demos that is shown off. I think this is definitely like a showcase for the console for sure. So yeah, there's no surprise it's not going to be on PS4. For me, I think that I mean, the whole, like when it shows falling through the rift and then the level just loading right in front of you, I think it's a showcase for its SSD.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a showcase for the ray tracing, and as I think they've already talked about, there's going to be a lot of DualSense feedback on Ratchet and Clank as well. Um, so yeah, I think it's good that we've got it in stone. And yeah, I just want to know release date now. But the good thing is, it might be a launch PS5 game for me by the time I get one. So, but yeah, no, really, really looking forward to it. And yeah, glad to know that it's not going to be held back by any previous gens.
Right, I agree, and they really are shaping this up as the flagship, PS5 game. This isn't like Miles, I would say, but it is a bummer that they can't have this for release because it would be cool to see this their day one with having all the bells and whistles, showing off the crazy SSD, just really proving like this is why you need a PS5 because of
Hmm.
this kind of game here.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, early quarter 2021, you have to imagine. I wouldn't really assume any later than that, but it seems
Hmm.
like this is still on board to be early part of next year.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes it takes a few months for these big showcase games to come. Because I mean, if you look at PS3, they didn't really start showing off the console's power really until like games like Uncharted came out.
True.
Uh, Maybe even Uncharted 2, which came much further into its life cycle. So yeah, I think it'd be nice to have had it at launch, and it would have been a really, really great way to sell the console. But um, obviously they don't need that much to sell it. I think people are going to buy this thing no matter what, and it's a good way to, because it sounds like people are already really impressed with the DualSense and everything the PS5 is doing. We'll obviously get a better look into that soon, but it's a good way to keep that hype train going, isn't it? Because you got these first few months of everyone being really impressed, and then you got Ratchet and Clank coming out, and that's going to really highlight everything it can do. Um, so yeah, there's the cons are that we're not going to get it sooner rather than later, but the advantages are it's going to extend our excitement of the PS5 into next year.
Yeah, and they really need to start to think ahead because everyone at the first part of a console release, it's always like, okay, how does the launch look? What are we going to get day one with these consoles? But really, what does that next year look like? And do you have enough stuff padded in there to kind of keep the momentum going and give you some legs until like the big juggernauts come in, like the
Mm.
next Naughty Dog, the next Sony Santa
Yeah.
Monica game? And so they kind of have to, make sure this stuff is spaced out. And I know with PS4, that's why you had Infamous Second Son, which was supposed to be launched but was pushed for a little bit further in. I think
Mhm.
it's a good idea to make sure you kind of have those peppered throughout the year to keep
Yeah,
giving people
exactly.
a
Yeah.
reason to pick up this new console as the year goes
Yeah.
by.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to blow your load too early, as they say.
Yeah, but I think Shigeru Miyamoto, that's one of his quotes. Yep,
Yeah.
I always see that online. So, Cal, we got some news on Resident Evil 8. Just updates really with the game coming out. Resident Evil 8 supports 4K ray tracing with adaptive triggers on PS5. We have Hyrule Syrer of GamesRadar.com. Resident Evil 8 will support 4K and ray tracing on PS5, according to a slate of new details that have emerged. The official PlayStation Store listing for Capcom's upcoming horror sequel has recently been updated with a load of brand new details for the PS5 version of the game. There's also some incredibly fast load times to look forward to, thanks to the PS5's ultra high speed SSD. Finally, it sounds like Capcom are really going to be taking advantage of the Dualsense's features for Resident Evil 8 with adaptive triggers and haptic feedback to simulate the effect of firing a real gun. How do you feel about this, Callum? This isn't a first-party game, but this is the first time we're seeing, I guess, third-party really take advantage of the special features with the DualSense. I guess as I say that, I know it's been in the news that Fortnite is also taking advantage of some of the haptic feedbacks and stuff. So not the first, but we're seeing more third-party show their support for that for the actual DualSense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's I think it's something we've been sort of theorizing before anyway, the way Mark Cerny's been talking about the way the PlayStation 5 is utilizing its SSD and implementing it into its architecture. And obviously the DualSense being a huge step above the Xbox controllers offering. I think it's just, it makes sense to see that these multi-platform games really are looking like the place to play them is on PlayStation, and not just because of performance, but because of these little minute details that have been focused on and are going to really change the experience. So, yeah, it's a great sign for PlayStation 5, and it's a great sign for Resident Evil 8. I think having feedback to simulate gun firing is only going to immerse you more into the game, and I think immersion in a horror game or a game like Resident Evil that's going to be full of atmosphere is only a good thing. It's just like what they did with the VR as well. That worked really well because of the kind of game it is, and I think this will too.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting going forward because we're going to have a lot of these immersive features, and it's just going to be cool to live in that world where we
Hmm.
have all these different ways to keep you immersed. And then one thing I haven't seen any outlets talk about, I'm sure it's under embargo, but the whole audio capabilities of the PS5,
Mm.
and hearing how that also adds to the immersion with the crazy audio stuff they're working on under the hood for each game. And so I can't imagine that with the haptic feedback and the resistant triggers. And once
Hmm.
you get that little robot guy that they patented on your couch, like all this stuff together, it's going to make for an awesome
Yeah.
time.
I might need one of them actually with lockdown going on. I won't be able to see anyone, so I need someone to play games with.
Now's actually, yeah, the perfect time for that. I'll take two.
Yeah.
Just make a little group of buddies.
Yeah, we don't have too many because you might have someone come arrest you for breaking the rules or something.
That's true. Yeah, if I try to marry them all, they're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Colin, we got some news on Demon Souls, which I didn't pull up here as well before I get into it, but they did reveal last week that there isn't ray tracing in the game. And
Mhm.
while I first thought, okay, that's a bummer, but then all that footage we saw had no ray tracing in it, but it looked
Mhm.
incredibly gorgeous. So that's just a testament to
Yeah.
this engine and to Bluepoint. This game doesn't have ray tracing, but it looks like it does. It looks like it's
Mhm.
outperforming, Control or any other game with ray tracing. It's incredibly
Yeah.
insane, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, I can't be mad. Like it still looks incredibly awesome.
Yeah. 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 I think ray tracing is obviously amazing, and it works really well for certain games because it's real time. Equations and things going on in the background that are going to sort of replicate the lighting effects. But I think with a game like Demon Souls, where it seems from the footage not linear but quite focused in its environments and locations, I think they'll probably be able to implement reflections and lighting effects that doesn't need simulating, or maybe they've got their own little thing running in the background that sort of mimics that. So, I don't think ray tracing is vital. It's a nice little addition. I mean, I've had ray tracing capable graphics card for ages and I haven't even tried it yet because, as much as it's nice at the moment, it's just one of those things that we don't need. And I think a lot of the footage we've seen from next gen, as much as it's all been really amazing, I don't think it's necessarily been ray tracing that has been the main thing that has made everything look so good. It's just been the sharpness, the smoothness of gameplay, the general change in quality of textures and things like that. And obviously, as we're hearing, the controllers making a huge difference, the loading times, the speed in which textures can load in and things like that. So I think there's probably going to be lots of people who are going to try and use this as a negative against it, but like you said, it looks amazing. So there's no negatives to be said about it.
Yeah, that's something with ray tracing. So I'm a PC newbie, but this past year, as I've built one, and just even coming to realize like what is ray tracing and why do I want it, and being kind of convinced with like marketing and stuff that I do need this
Hmm.
thing. I've realized that while it's awesome to have, yeah, you're right, where it's just not essential, and there's so much the devs can do where they can create their own crazy lighting setup where they don't need to have ray tracing. They can have their own abilities within the game to cause the reflections and to do everything else under the hood,
Hmm.
where it's not necessary. It's just more of a selling point at this point. There is cool features
Yep.
with RTX and with NVIDIA cards. They have the whole NVIDIA broadcast stuff, the audio things will help you with. And usually if you have that ray tracing ability, it just means your card is beefier and can
Hmm.
handle just more stuff in general. But I think we are kind of realizing, or I am realizing that, yeah, it's not this whole like savior thing that we need going
Hmm.
forward. It's more about other aspects of performance and just make sure the engine is,
Yeah.
is suitable on top of that. But even look at Naughty Dog with Last of Us 2. The game's
Yeah.
incredibly gorgeous and honestly looks could hold up with these next gen games.
Yeah.
There's no ray
Definitely. Yeah.
tracing. All the reflection
Yeah.
they're just doing by on purpose or by hand, and
Yeah.
using their various tricks and stuff to get that same feel. And it
Hmm.
looks like there is ray tracing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
testament to the devs.
And what people need to realize as well is ray tracing is extremely taxing. It's
It
a
is.
very, very complicated set of algorithms and things, and it's gonna really there's wherever there's ray tracing is going to be huge sacrifices, and that's the same on all graphics cards, even the new 30 series of the RTX cards. As soon as you turn that ray tracing on, then things are going to drop hugely in terms of performance, and so it's like with going back to Resident Evil. I know it says it will support 4K and ray tracing. I'm not sure whether that will be 4K with ray tracing or not. I don't know whether they're mutually sort of
I
exclusive or
think they
not.
will be. Yeah.
But I mean that there will be sacrifices, and whether that's texture quality, frame rate, anything to have ray tracing turned on, that is going to be a huge. There's going to be a huge performance dip in comparison to having it off. So to know that Demon Souls doesn't have it and it looks that good, you know that you're going to get, photorealistic texture quality, and you're going to get high frame rates because you don't have that taxing ray tracing in the background. So, that's something people have to remember. It's very new. Well, it's getting more robust, but it is still quite new technology, and it is still very, very taxing to whatever system is using it. So, I mean, unless there's some special, amazing thing in these new consoles that makes it easy to do, but I doubt that very much.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and really to touch more on Demon Souls, they showed off today some more of the character creator in photo mode, and I could just jump into the news article here we got from Anna Bankhurst of IGN. Demon Souls on PS5's character creator and photo mode revealed. The character creator and photo mode have been revealed for PS5 launch titled Demon Souls, and it will allow players to customize their appearance with up to 16 million permutations. As revealed on PlateStation blog, the team behind Demon Souls has added many more options to create your characters than were featured in the PS3 original, and is ensuring that there is a satisfying variety possible for those who wish to tinker with every slider. With all these options to customize your character, it would be a shame to not be able to show it off, and Sony and Bluepoint Games have added a photo mode to Demon Souls on PS5 to help do just that. Yeah, especially with a photo mode is essential with this game with how crazy beautiful it is. But
Yeah.
the slider is pretty. I imagine we're going to see some just like abominations with people creating their own characters, and I can't wait to see that as soon as people start making stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean it looks amazing. The graphics are, the graphical quality is, nearly unmatched, and the character creator is great. And I saw some funny sort of comparisons between the original Demon Souls and even like the newer Dark Souls games, because they, your characters always look really, really, really odd.
yeah,
But I mean, yeah, the graphics are awesome, and you can see that. I think this is where you can see perhaps the artists at Bluepoint with the artists at From Software, because there's definitely um, a real difference in tone in the way the characters look in this, and I think that's a good thing. I think it gives it that next gen feel because it is so vastly different. Because I think even if From Software was doing this, I'm sure it would look lovely, but they don't necessarily create the same kind of character models and the same kind of art style. So it's a really, really great marriage of styles, and yeah, I'm really, really excited to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing more about the game and how there's no interest in from Bluepoint, no interest in like an easy mode or difficulty
Mm,
setting. It's just the
yeah.
game is how it is. I know they are kind of promoting the fact that there's a bunch of they're going to launch with like 180 videos through the PS5, that like a little card section where you can have your helpful videos at the touch of a button, which is great. But I know
Hmm.
this game's going to be crazy hard for me, so I'm just I wish there was a baby mode, but they have no interest in a baby mode.
No,
So yeah,
they don't care about your feelings.
they do not. They do not, which I respect, but yeah.
Which is why they're charging £70 for the game.
Yeah, very true. Cal, we got some a little bit of more hope for this Mass Effect trilogy, Mass Effect cast to reunite for N7 Day amid trilogy remaster speculation. This is Jordan Alleman of IGN has the article. Multiple cast members from Mass Effect franchise are reunited for an N7 Day celebration amid continuing speculation about a remaster of the series' first three games. The news was revealed by Commander Shepard himself, Mark Meir, on Twitter, who added that the special event will take place on 11/7, November 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Naturally, this could just be a meeting of the minds to reminisce about a popular franchise, but given the speed at which the rumor mill is turning about a potential Mass Effect trilogy remaster, it would be the perfect time to reveal something that will please franchise fans. Callum, what do you think? Are we getting closer to this? Or are they just going to completely drive over this opportunity and not touch on it?
Probably, yeah. I'm sure that there'll probably be nothing announced. But no, yeah, I hope so because it's not just for me. Because I mean, as you know, I've played them more recently, so it's not necessarily a huge excitement for me, but just for general fans of the game and people who maybe never got to play them, or it's another trilogy that just needs a remaster. It needs to be re-released. It needs to be more accessible. So yeah, let's hope that it'll finally get announced because I mean, it's one of those like worst kept secrets, isn't it? That just
Right.
they know that we know, so let's just tell us that it's real. So yeah, hopefully we won't have to just keep waiting and waiting for them to finally say something, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they just finally commit to showing this thing off because it's basically been fully leaked at this point. Besides a trailer leaking, maybe that's the last thing
Hmm.
they're going to need for it to happen. But yeah, and that's coming up soon. So what? That's the 7th. That is maybe Saturday. Yeah, it's a Saturday. So
Hmm.
we might have this some news soon.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, it's a no-brainer, and I think this helps reinvigorate the franchise. And if it sells enough, it kind of just justifies them jumping back into that world again sometime soon. I know they're working on Anthem right now. I'm sure, like full steam ahead, but this could be the next thing to maybe get back to after that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Alrighty. So yeah, we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. We got the PS5 launch will be online only. Callum, this is another sort of bummer, or more of just a reality with the PS5 coming up
Yeah.
soon. We got Ali Jones of Games Radar. It's a bit of a lengthy one. The PS5 will only be available via online delivery on launch day. In a blog post this afternoon, Sony confirmed that no in-store purchases will be allowed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sid Schumann, senior director of Sony Content Communications, said that while the PS5 release date is almost here, in the interest of keeping our gamers, retailers, and staff safe amidst COVID-19, today we're confirming that all day of launch sales will be conducted through the online stores of our retail partners. That means that no units will be available in store for purchase on launch day, whether the console is releasing in your region on November 12th or November 19th. Schumann asks that would be buyers don't plan on camping out or lining up at your local retailer on launch day in hopes of finding a PS5 console for purchase. If you got a PS5 pre-order that you're already planning on picking up from a retailer, you'll still be able to do that as long as you abide by your retailer safety protocols, which you'll need to confirm on an individual basis. Earlier this week, reports suggested that in Germany, the pandemic may have forced Sony to ship the PS5 early, while in the UK, a new lockdown has raised question marks over how players will be able to pick up their new consoles. Elsewhere, however, players have been told not to show up to stores for a different reason. Japan's entire PS5 stock has been exhausted, and no more consoles are expected to arrive in time for launch. So, not good for Japan right now. Looks like they're all sold up. But yeah, I think this makes sense, right, Callum? That they just
Hmm.
have a reality. They have to make sure that people are safe. I don't hear the same thing with with the Microsoft consoles, I think they're still launching, but maybe they will try and make sure that if there's people lining up physically, they're all separated or in
Mhm.
bubbles or something. I wonder how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, I think it's really, really sensible to do, as much as it hurts me to say, because you know, the amount of people that will go out of their house to a shop specifically to buy a PlayStation 5 is so many. So it's going to stop so many people from breaking lockdown rules. It's going to stop so many people from gathering. It's going to stop, people from, yeah, just leaving the house when they otherwise wouldn't have. So I think it's a really, really sensible thing to do because it's not just to, it is really looking out for they're really taking the measures seriously, which is always good. And you got to look at the bigger picture in times like these, and to not tempt anybody out of their house is a great idea. So yeah, it's a shame for me because I won't be able to get one on release day now, but yeah, it's a good thing because we don't want anything prolonging this lockdown or making anything worse or making anybody ill. So yeah, it's a fair move.
Well, and you mentioned that not being able to get one. I mean, not necessarily because I think you can. These retailers can still they still have their allotted amount of
Mhm.
PS5s that they can sell on launch day. It would just be through
Yeah,
the website, so it is still
yeah,
possible. But then it's just more of a struggle to
yeah,
make sure you get in there, first in
yeah,
line on the website.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, and
And
it's
I'll probably
interesting.
have to wait a couple days for delivery
Right,
and everything like that. But
that's true.
it's just is what it is.
That's the thing. I mean, it is what it is. Uh,
Yeah.
because these events in the past have always, brought so many people in, waiting in line and just hanging out in stores, and you just
Hmm.
can't do that. Although I wonder if, because not everyone reads Twitter, obviously, it's or is online all that time, a lot of the time. So how do they communicate this across? I think a lot of people are still going to be driving out, going to the stores, and
Hmm.
are going to be angry when they can't, buy their
Yeah.
PS5 then and there and see
Yeah.
them stacked up or whatever and still be angry, but it's just they're
Yeah.
not going to know.
Yeah, well, that's their fault for not listening to our podcast, isn't it? It's what they get.
Very true.
If you
You know
if you, if you don't listen to this podcast, you get COVID-19. So
what?
that's how it
Yes.
works.
Well, hopefully that doesn't legally bite us in the butt, but yeah. If we're saying it cures your if we're saying it cures your COVID, then we got some problems. But if
Yeah.
you
Oh no, it won't
listen,
cure it. If you've got COVID, then yeah, that's all you.
that's
But
all
if you
you.
don't listen to it, then you're more likely to get it.
We'll send someone knocks on your door. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Callum. Yeah, that's really it for this week. Do you have any plans coming up? Any games that you're going to be jumping into now that you're in lockdown?
I've actually, well, for quite a while, I've been thinking about jumping into Devil May Cry because that's a
Ooh.
game that I remember very, very not very well at all that I played when I was much, much younger. So, and I know the collection's on PS now. I know that the collection, the PS4 version's always on sale as well. For the first, I think it's the first three games, and I think four's separate, and then five's obviously separate. But I mean, it's mostly the resurgence of me wanting to play it recently is because of seeing DMC5 on PS5, and it just looks unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's something I'd definitely like to perhaps get into, but I know that they're meant to be really bloody hard. So um,
Yeah.
that's sort of not turning me off, but I need to be in like the right frame of mind before I start it, and that's another reason why I might buy it for PS4 because I don't want to have to stream the PS3 version because I think I need like pinpoint input and everything
I
to get
see.
through it. So, but yeah, so I've been looking at that, and I think as you know, I've been wanting to play Doom, the 2016 one, and it's on PS now, so I could play it now, but I really really want to play it on
Mm.
my PC. So, I'm waiting for that to go on sale on Steam because I've seen it before for like £4 on Steam.
Yeah, it gets pretty cheap.
But yeah, but I think it's like retail price at the moment is £15. So I've put up my wish list and hoping for a nice cheap one. And so yeah, so hopefully Doom as well. Should I get lucky with a sale there?
So you know what? Well, Doom Eternal is I've seen it on sale for half off, like $30 or
Hmm.
half off the retail right now. And then
Yeah.
you could also try. So Stadia has the original for $10 on there. So you could, if you want to
Hmm.
stream it, you could also do that too.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not, I think like I said, I mean, I was thinking about downloading it on PS4 through PlayStation Now, the first one. But yeah, I really, really want to play it on my PC with a keyboard and mouse,
Oh
and
yeah.
benefit from the higher frame rates and everything, because I'm sure that will be buttery smooth. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, unless I really, really want to just play it and get it out of the way, but also by the time I end up getting it on PC, hopefully, then when I'm ready to play Doom Eternal will have come down in price as well. So there's a whole cheapskate tactic behind it all. So, but yeah, but I will eventually play those games because I know that they're meant to be, good games. So I will get to them eventually.
Yeah, Doom Eternal is probably one of my just favorite games ever, and that came out this
Yeah.
year too. It's going to be interesting to actually compile all these games that came out this year. And we had Last of Us 2, you got Doom Eternal.
Hmm.
Oh boy, you got a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
and there was just crazy, crazy awesome games, and that's
Yeah.
got to be top of my list. I think Doom for sure
Yeah.
this year was
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
All right, Colin, we'll end it there. Where can they find you online?
Twitter at Bear Monroe is where I lurk.
Awesome. And I'm also lurking on the Twitters at Plastic Heart Pod. You can keep up the show there as well. That's it for us this week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
See you later.